Hello Pisces, and welcome to your monthly forecast. This is for November. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. You heard that right. I'm flipping the order this month so that those at the end of the zodiac get a chance to basically enjoy and be first. But as always, you can use this whenever you want to. It's here as a reference for your sun, rising, and moon signs. Let's get started. I know many of you enjoy looking at Apollo right before we begin the reading. He's chilling out, resting, holding some space. I hope you guys can get relaxed as well and get ready to receive. Let's go ahead now and get into your channeled messages for today. What I saw this morning in dreams for you was quite heartening. Basically, there were two people hand in hand walking down a path. And then I saw like someone else from your life. To me, I think that references an old relationship or connection. So it's kind of like a revolving door. One is exiting, but the one that's coming in, much better. And I just felt this sense of, it was kindness. The word nice came to mind. And for many of you, I feel like it's about time, right? That someone comes in that just really treats you well, has this great energy. And whether it's a friend, a coworker, or a lover, whatever it might be, it felt very, very welcoming. So if you're ready for partnership this month, I see it. This is also just like the ace cards in Rider-Waite-Smith. So each of the elements, earth, air, water, and fire, basically has a hand with that element in it. If you're ready to receive, the universe is ready to give you something. If you're ready to give something to the world, this is a great month for that exchange to happen. So launching a business, sending out an invitation, making an announcement. But there could also be something coming to you. So I see back and forth energy. I saw a partnership, and I saw someone exiting amicably. So this is a month where there's going to be some changing of faces and new people coming in. So really the question is, are you ready? Ready to give, ready to receive, ready to make some things happen? Let's shuffle the cards and see what Spirit has to say. Let's take a moment to set intentions here and to clear the energy, starting with the clearing. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath. And if there's anything that's coming to your mind, any persistent thought, fear, or anxiety, in this moment in time, I'd like you just to let it go. If it helps, you can focus on the rising sun in front of you and the beautiful blue sky, and just send the thoughts and worries towards that. And once you feel that energy being taken off your shoulders, open yourself up to receive whatever guidance needs to come through. And let's welcome in the stewards of that information, spirit guides, angels, and ascended masters. And as well, let's bring in your highest self too. Okay? When you're ready, open your eyes, and let's give the cards a shuffle. We have a volunteer multiple times here. All right, let's begin. We're going to start off with your catalyst card, Mercury. What a powerful message to be coming through at the very beginning here. It says open communication. Let's look at the bottom of this. It says, get a weight off your chest, speak up with love, and be heard. It's interesting that in the meditation today, I was talking about lifting a weight from your shoulders. There may be something that just needs to be released or said. And I did notice a parting of the ways, but it was friendly. So this may just be a natural sort of, separation or graduation or something of that nature. But it's also helping you make room for someone new. So when it comes to a relationship, a friendship, or a partnership, it's okay to step in a new direction if you need to. For everybody else, including like existing partnerships and just how to thrive in work and in life, it's about being able to speak from the heart, speak openly without fear of retribution or rejection. And so that is really important. Also clarifying what your intention is in the communication and making sure that you're listening and being heard. So, both ends sort of checking their assumptions and speaking as clearly, as kindly, and as openly as possible. Good advice for any sign at any time, but particularly this month. The clearer the communication, the better for you. Okay? So let's take a quick scan of the table and see what it's all about here. I like that we got an ace because I got that energy of basically exchanging, which we talked about in channeled messages, so that's good. We can see the need to elevate a situation here. 3 of Swords, 5 of Swords. Again, there just may be someone that you're deciding like enough is enough and you move in a new direction. Ultimately, it's bringing you to a place of power and balance. So I like what we see. Let's get started with your center card. And you have the 6 of Swords here in the reverse state. There are a couple of things that this can indicate. First, you may decide to go back and finish something. You could be finishing like a high school degree, getting a GED. You could be finishing a project that's just been sitting there for a while. You may also decide to retrace your steps and make sure that you haven't missed something. So some of you might be reviewing or editing or revising. Once you do that, then you can decide, all right, let's move forward. So a couple of steps back, getting some perspective and some distance, and then making up for lost time after that. This can also represent, for some of you, overdue movement or an overdue sort of release of a contract or something. So I was talking about the need to just step away. Maybe you've been hanging on to a person, place, or thing longer than you needed to, and once you release it, you really start to not only feel freedom, but you create some movement and momentum. So movement is the central energy of this spread, and it's just a question. Are you staying? Are you going? Is there something you need to finish before moving to the next, I really want to say the next cycle, but the next sort of opportunity. Crossing this is the Hermit, and this is about experience, research, and for many of you, you might need to pull back a little bit from what might be going on around you, particularly if it comes to something that makes you unhappy or someone that's not acting with integrity, and you're deciding to educate yourself, which is 3 of Pentacles. You're deciding to go inward and really sort of figure out what it is that you want. And once you've got that clarity, then you can use that to take a direction that makes sense for you. So do the research. It's a great time for meditation, for research, for working with a mentor, for learning. What I love about this, and you can see it around her heart, she has the star. Usually the Hermit carries it in a lantern, but she's wearing it close to her heart as her pendant. So you're closer than you think, and I think that for some of you, you just need the opportunity to take the time to get there in the heart space. Because I think here, many of you know it, but you're not feeling it here. Or it might be the reverse. You're trying to talk yourself out of what you know you need to do. So one thing that I am getting from the universe is it's time. It feels like you're ready. So whatever you need to do to embrace that and feel more ready, please, by all means, do it. We have in the deep past an ace. This Ace of Swords is reversed. I mentioned revisions being something that you can deal with this month. Absolutely with this. You can imagine this to basically represent like a pen or pencil, going through, scribbling, editing things, getting some clarity on things. This is also about taking rapid or clear action and speaking up when needed, using words like yes or no, or getting to the bottom of something. So clear communication, exactly what we got here with Mercury. Open communication, and saying, we need to address this, or I have a question because this doesn't make sense. When you say that, you've put it out into the open, you're not carrying that weight, and it starts to liberate you, and it brings in new and better things. Also, if you need to get something started, create a contract for yourself, an agenda, a schedule, somehow putting things into a priority list so that you know what to do, when to do, how to do it. It's also being clear with yourself and your own intentions. As we take a look here at the recent past, we have the 3 of Pentacles. In this particular illustration, we see someone taking a sketch class, putting their skills to practice. And I'd like to actually reference the original Rider-Waite-Smith card for a moment because I think it tells the story a little bit better. So Three of Pentacles can represent a chance to learn, to master any sort of new knowledge, skill, etc. And that is what we're seeing here is someone learning how to paint. But this is even broader than that. It is basically saying anything that you want to set your sights on this month, you have a chance to really absorb the message, the information, and put it to practice here and build something great. It's a card of teamwork, recognition, and mastery, meaning that you're going to learn it, keep it, and apply it. This is also a card associated with those of you that are creative writers. So if there's something that you want to put out maybe in a curriculum or in some sort of written form, even a research paper, whatever it is, you have a chance now to really make a splash and get your message out there. And that also connects us to what we were looking at here with open communication with Mercury. One last note, and then we're going to move on to the Three of Swords. Some of you are deciding, as I said, to go back and finish something. Definitely when it comes to education, this is great. So if you didn't have the resources, the time, the energy, etc., this time you're going to be fine. The Hermit and the Three of Pentacles together, chef's kiss. This is really being able to master it and take it to the next level, okay? Now, in the crowning position, we have the Three of Swords, which represents frustration, sometimes sadness, and it can also just be disappointment. I do have a silver lining for you. If at first you don't succeed, try it one more time. This was about going back and mastering and succeeding and graduating whatever this disappointment is, and basically using your knowledge, coming out this time as the empowered hermit. We'll talk a little bit more about this in health, but the Three of Swords is also just the universe saying, take good care of your heart. So good exercise, good diet, making sure that also if there's any family history of blood sugar, heart disease, high blood pressure, anything of that nature that deals with the cardiovascular system, that you're not ignoring it. And obviously in this situation, you have to work with a professional, but take care of yourself. It's time to heal. That is the first sort of potential block here that comes through. The next one could be a person in your life. I mentioned I saw two people walking together, one person going in another direction. This may be the person you decide to part ways with. Five of Swords typically represents someone that's either disinterested in listening to you, incapable of maybe empathizing with what it is that you're saying, or just simply doesn't want to. So if you talk to someone that emanates that Five of Swords energy, here's how it comes through. A lot of times they interrupt. A lot of times they might even just interpret it the wrong way and immediately go into a sort of argumentative state. And sometimes they just won't listen. You're telling them stuff, but they don't hear it. So you've got better things to focus on. Pick and choose your battles. That's not one that's worth fighting. Now, as an aspect of yourself, this is like the little devil. We have an angel here. We have a devil here. This is an agent of the devil. And what it does is it comes through and it says things like this. You're not good enough. It's never going to work. Why don't you just give up? It's trying to get you to sell yourself short, and I don't want you to do that. This is usually from someone in your life, a past teacher or parent or advisor or friend that pretended to be there for you, but they were really just kind of like a frenemy. They were putting a block there. So whether it's a voice that is an echo of that person, whether it's just an insecurity, or there's an actual person in your life that it's just difficult to converse with, this is a time for you to say, you know what? I got better things to do. I'm not going to give that person or that voice any more airtime. I've got to move on. And the reason is we have the Fool. It's beautifully in alignment with that. There are new things to explore. This is ancient history. That's what I'm getting. That's what Spirit just said to me. It's ancient history. It's done and dusted, whatever kind of phrase you want to use. Look at how carefree this Fool is. Why? Because it listened to Mercury. It opened up the line of communication. It got whatever it was off its shoulders it needed to and said, you know what, I got to move on. And so for someone that isn't giving you the time of day or isn't listening or isn't engaging, you could just say, let's reconnect later. I think we've said everything we need to, or I don't have time for this right now, or you're not listening. Come back when you're ready to listen and then move on. Move on to something else. The Fool is ends and beginnings, and it's about that sense of, I want to explore. Why not? So when this person comes through and says you can't, you think, why can't I? You know what? I am going to do this. I'm going to do this because I want to do this, because I need to do this. So your energy is a reset this month. You're resetting your expectations, others, you're trying new things, you're getting out there, you're exploring. It's a fresh, clean slate. We have the number 0 here. Sometimes it's 22, but usually it's 0. And 99% of the time, it is the 0 card. There's actually something you do with digital devices. It's called zeroing the drive. So in addition to erasing it, you can put a 0 on every sector, and it just really resets it so no remaining bits of information are there. And it's almost like you're doing that this month. You're scrubbing the energy clean and clear. So it's truly a fresh slate. I'd love for you to start the day with an intention saying, I release the fears, the anxieties, and the frustrations of the day before. I open my mind today to the possibilities. That's what comes through here in real time. Be open and explore. Great month for travel. If you're And it doesn't have to include getting on a plane, like just exploring new things, walking around, meeting people. This is where some exciting things could start to take place. The last 3 cards are really powerful. So this is environment, hopes and fears, and then the outcome. So in the environment, I mentioned some of you could benefit from an advisor or an expert. This could be the teacher that comes through, and we have the ability for you to really take this to heart and really soak it all in. It's also you. So you're going to walk away from this moment in time as the Emperor. I like in this card that we have one that's kind of gender neutral because I read that way anyway with the cards. So what we're really trying to look past are biases, whether it's sexism, ageism, or any phobia or ism. We're moving away from those. And there may be someone in your life that's stuck with some of those biases. And whether it's in your partnership or in your job or elsewhere, again, I feel like you don't have time for that anymore. It's time to walk into your power, right? To reclaim the power and to really have some fun. There is an entrepreneurial spirit that is permeating this whole spread. You're the boss, in other words. And if you've been wishing or wanting to spread your wings a little bit and say, I want to just do this, I want to be the boss, then yes, this is the time. All right? Appropriately enough, here we have the King of Wands coming through in hopes, fears, and opportunities. You have the opportunity this month to step forward and really share your ideas. The King and the Queen of Wands are the minor arcana complement to the Emperor and the Empress. So this is right in alignment here. So that's why I said like attracts like. You're attracting the Emperor because you are the Emperor, just a different version of it. The really cool energy with King of Wands is brainstorming, ideation, breakthrough sort of energy where someone else is stuck and they can't think through it. You might come through with a fresh perspective with this Fool and just say, why not this? Sometimes even naivete is good because you're not thinking of all the traditional ways. So the more you can just go with your intuition, because the King, Queen of Wands are very intuitive, the better. So trust your gut, try something different, be bold, express yourself, and show it. One of the things that the King of Wands does better than maybe King of Swords is rather than getting lost in words, the King of Wands is like, here it is. How about this? Look at it over there. They show it. So if you can demonstrate, illustrate, or somehow communicate non-verbally what it is you want to do, you can actually reach a larger audience. Have you ever noticed on TikTok, how-to videos a lot of times don't have voiceover? They'll just have some background music and people pointing to things. That's because everybody understands pictures, and IKEA directions are another example. They typically don't have a lot of words. Maybe they have like English and French, but most of it is just pictures. That way it can be sent out to multiple countries and everyone understands it. That's why like Egyptian pictograms and earlier languages were kind of symbols like that because it's universal. Pictures make sense. That's how we kind of learn when we're kids too. Even the alphabet, like the A with the apple, and we start to associate things. So show it. Don't get lost in the words. People will get the images better. And simplicity is best. And that's the last thing I have to say there. Moving on to the outcome, we have the Six of Pentacles. Finding, creating, and establishing better balance. I love that they show, instead of just the scales here, these two gifts. You have a lot of gifts to give the world. It could be the gift of space, holding space for someone. It could be gratitude. It could be information. It could be money. You are a gift, and you need to pick and choose how much and how often you're giving those gifts to others. Make sure that you're keeping some of the time and the energy and the resources for yourself. This is a picky and discerning card in the best sort of definition of the word. Picking and choosing what's best. Being mindful of how this is going to either impact others or subtract energetically from you. Okay? So with this card, whether it's business or life in general, it shows me a newfound balance, and you have enough. More than enough, actually. You've started to tip the scale in the right direction. So continue to be mindful, continue to be realistic, and you'll start to see more growth. Let's now take this to the next level. We'll go into health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off with your health, which is mind, body, and spirit. Let's take a look at the Oracle card here. It's a really powerful one. It's reversed, but I want to read it upright because I don't read upside down. Anunnaki light codes, and it says, energetic shift, new information, end of a cycle. How perfectly aligned is that, particularly since we got the Fool? So the end of a cycle here when it comes to health and well-being, and then likewise, the beginning of something new. I mentioned at the beginning that it was like a revolving door, a relationship or a partnership ending, a new one coming in. The light energy is what you really want to focus on. Do you feel a sense of brightness and levity and happiness when you are doing something, spending time with someone in a certain environment? If yes, do more of it. If no, it's time to reestablish boundaries and decide to go in a different direction. So, energetic shift, new information, end of cycle. Let's see how this plays out in your general health cards here. Again, standard disclaimer, I am reading energy. If anything's going on in your body, work with a professional. Okay, speaking of that, if you're not clear on what someone's talking about, a doctor in particular, ask them. Break it down into everyday terms. That doesn't make sense to me. If you're working with a lawyer or you're talking to someone and they're just using technical jargon or something like that, get it in plain English or your language of choice and just say, I need to understand this. Show me. What does that mean? Draw it out. We actually see that here. Sometimes it's better if it's just a sketch. Like, how does this work? Where is that out? So basically break it down into understandable and digestible pieces so that you can figure out what to do with that. And especially when it comes to something going on in your body. Okay? So there we go. Let's move on to other things. I mentioned already blood pressure, blood sugar, heart disease, diabetes, anything of that nature. Three of Swords can represent a recalibration. I'm very grateful that we have Six of Pentacles here. So it does feel like you're able to reestablish balance, but you have to pay attention to that. This is actually more of an emotional thing, and it's about being overly critical or listening to overly critical stuff and kind of taking it personally. Be kind to yourself. Stay constructive. And kind of like discard things that are just critical for the sake of being critical. Educate yourself. Read, research, get a second opinion if you need to. Exercise is great, and it doesn't have to be challenging. It can simply be movement. Swimming and walking are two great ways to have low-impact exercise, and that's very much being welcomed here by the Fool. There's a lot of cards that are seated here, so just making sure that you're taking breaks, moving, and stretching also comes through. And finding proper balance in your life. Work-life balance, balance in your diet, enough exercise, nothing in extremes, basically. That's the main thing here. Overall, pretty manageable when I'm looking at the cards. Also, it might be time to move. Might be time to move or move on, particularly if there's a toxic relationship or a toxic environment, okay? Let's move on to energy in wealth. So we have two cards that came through. I love the first one because this is basically representative of High Priestess energy, since Joan of Arc was clairaudient. It says, do not be afraid, stand up for your beliefs, she's very much Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords and High Priestess. She hears, she receives, and she relays the messages. So when it comes to wealth, you're the voice of reason, right? And you might be taking more of an active standpoint where you're fighting for something that really matters. Beneath this, it's really interesting. We have Kali Ma, and it's divine severance, cut the cords to drama, fears, and limitations. And I believe she is 100% saying enough of this Five of Swords, right? She comes through to remove boundaries and remove blocks. She's one of the more interesting deities, but these two are working hand in hand. So Joan of Arc, she's speaking up. She's not afraid to speak up and be the voice of reason. And Kali Ma is not afraid to sever the necessary ties and say, we're done now. I need to focus on this, okay? Let's take a look at this in three major categories, and I group them a little bit here. So we'll be looking at those of you that are working and are entrepreneurs. Then we'll move on to job seekers, and then we'll move on to students and retirees. We're going to start off with those that have a traditional 9-to-5 job working for someone else. First and foremost, we have to keep looking at Mercury here coming through to open the lines of communication. If you're in a place where the communication is shut down, for instance, I think this is a big old red flag, and it's important for you kind of to take on this Joan of Arc stance and say, no, we do need to talk about this. And if it continually gets shut down, then you know it's time to move in a different direction, right? Fight the fight that's worth fighting, but if someone won't listen, then you've got better things to focus on, right? So being clear with others, making sure that you're being heard, making sure that you're listening to others. Communication goes both ways, right? So that's the first thing that I see is just a reality check. I'm also kind of confirming that many of you are dealing with maybe some breakdowns in morale and communication. And so do what you can to bring balance. You're not going to be able to please everyone, and you're not going to necessarily be able to get everybody to change or see the light immediately. But I do think you can make an impact, and you get to decide if it's enough for you. This is a month where it gets very clear. Do you want to stay? Do you want to go? For those of you that want to stay, here's what I see. The biggest challenge for you could be either your own emotions or the emotions of others. So getting some distance, possibly moving and working in a different space, going to a different office, to a different facility, working from home, whatever you can do to kind of engage with the hermit energy, that's the first message that I see. If things are going on and they bother you, log them, get them in writing. Three of Pentacles is basically making sure that everything is being accounted for just in case you need to elevate this. And if you do, I feel like you have a chance to create some change. But it's not, if you ask for something, you're not going to get everything that you want. It's a balanced sort of energy here in the Six of Pentacles, give and take. The main thing here is if someone's not ready to listen, don't waste your time. Make sure, again, that you come away from a conversation with talking points and you email them or you send them like minutes and say, here's the follow-up points, because they may not come through otherwise. Accountability is the biggest challenge across the board, but definitely accountability when you're dealing with coworkers or bosses or promises. Get it all in writing. That's the main thing this month. You're doing an okay job. People like working with you, but there are some challenges structurally, and you need to be on top of it when it comes to communication and making sure that people know that you did what you agreed. Hopefully they're doing the same. The other thing here is, you know, I see cards of experience, but this is a very junior energy. So for some of you, you may feel like you're taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it's frustrating. Progress isn't happening quickly enough. So that is more of a chance for you. Again, maybe you can communicate the frustration, like, I really want to be working on this instead. You never know until you ask, and I think it's important to put things out there. You may get to do a little bit more of it, but not everything. And so I'll leave that with you to decide if that's enough for you. Ultimately, there's no extremely troublesome cards here. No Ten of Swords, no Tower, no Devil. Mostly things like a setback or poor communication, but they are manageable and navigatable, but you just have to kind of step up in your own communication. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, it looks like a pretty decent month overall, actually, because I look for this card in financial spreads, particularly for entrepreneurs, to make sure that there's enough. There's more than enough. There are some things that you could do better, and she's deciding, maybe like for the next week, the next quarter, maybe more of this, less of this. So changing the allocation is going to be important. If you're working with a client and they don't listen, then I do think it's important for you to create some boundaries. You can say, we have one more revision in our contract. Go back to the contract. Make sure you get this stuff in the contract and say, this is how much I can do. Anything outside of that, we have to go back to legal or to the drawing board, and we might have to charge extra. So you got to keep it real, rein it in, and say, this is how much I can do with our original agreement. Because I feel like some people are testing the bounds here and the boundaries and see how far they can get. Some of you just need a break. I know it's hard. Someone was kind of being snarky in the remarks, and they said, well, who do I go to for like a vacation or a raise if I'm the entrepreneur? Yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. And so it's a good question, and I'm addressing it now, generally speaking. This is a call to take a break if needed, and also to realize like how much is enough. So if you have this troublesome client, is it worth the energy that you're getting? Because if you're ending up doing a lot of extra work and they're never happy, maybe if you cut them and added a new person, it could be more beneficial. You could get more done. You'd have more energy. So there may need to be a little bit of the Kali energy where she says, this is all we can do. This is the contract. You finish it up, and that's the last engagement. That's it. So there may be something like that you need to look at. But otherwise, you're doing well. And I really like, for those of you, if you put something into written form, a lesson, a curriculum, a class, a seminar, something of that nature, this is a perfect time to launch that. Okay? Moving on to job seekers. The biggest challenge for you is, like I said, this Five of Swords tends to sit on your shoulder, and it affects your morale. It chips away at things. Talk to someone else. Talk to an advisor or friend. Get some advice. Work with some other people. I feel like they could bring new insights into this. I also feel like many of you might have an offer on the table, but it's too junior. I see a couple here that are coming in. You're not going to get in this particular period the Goldilocks or perfect option. Six of Pentacles is enough, more than enough, but not everything. So you either have to change what you're looking for, like different industry, different job description, something different, or going back to school. By the way, if you do want to go back to school, this is a great time. Whether you're working or looking for work, or doesn't matter what, this is a great time to learn. But aside from all of that, unless you're going to add some additional skills in, you might need to look at something that could be a stepping stone. So I really see something like that could tide you over, that could create a bridge between where you're at and where you want to be. The bridge is this new opportunity. It's not everything, but it brings you closer. And if you can look at it like that, then it might be enough. If you want more and you're not happy with that, then it may be a little bit more time. It could be closer to 6 weeks instead of 4 weeks, okay? So there also could be a move that is necessary here. Either the job requires travel, or you need to move in order to get the job. I would say in this situation, make sure that they cover a percentage of the move if possible, because Six of Pentacles is okay, but it's not like overflowing. So see if there's a stipend, or they can help defray the costs of that move on some levels. But I see a couple options coming in, so it's good, but it is not everything you're looking for. So see if that's okay, or if you want to expand and look in different sort of job categories. I think also there's permission and encouragement not to do the same old, same old. So if you weren't happy at the last job, why would the same job title in a different company yield a different experience? It may be time to try something brand new. And again, that's why we have cards like education and research coming through to help you try something new. Okay, looking at those who are students, I do get that pressure is really intense right now. I also see that there could be some challenges with either your peers, your fellow students, maybe even someone in your family, some negativity, but don't let it get into your head, because I see the ability for you to absorb what you're learning. I really want you to feel free to try things. Even if you fail the first time, try it again. You'll surprise yourself. And I like the teachers, and I like where this leads. So don't give this person more power than they need. Don't give this class more energy than it deserves. There might be a need to drop one class or change up something for the next semester, but you're actually tracking well. Take care of your emotional and your mental health right now. It's a great time to lean on support there. Retirees, there could have been a little wake-up call when it comes to health. Don't beat yourself up too much. Fresh slate, new beginning right now. Also, interestingly enough, I mentioned this whole idea of gifts to offer, and we see these kind of really powerful advisory cards coming through. If you wanted to make some extra money teaching, mentoring, or just sharing your experiences, you could do that right now, which is kind of interesting, okay? Let's go ahead now and move on to love. This card came through reversed. In the upright position, it says, living with purpose brings me prosperity. So it's interesting because it's showing you that we don't want to put all the weight in a relationship, all of the value in a relationship. In a powerful partnership, the two of you have purpose and sort of attention separate from one another. So this is a chance to find a hobby, find an activity, a group, or something outside of the relationship that gives you a larger focus and sense of self. Because when you feel more whole outside of the relationship, you have more to offer in the relationship and it's more fun. And then it kind of steps you away from codependency or again, feeling like the two of you have to try to constantly fulfill one another, the missing pieces of one another. This is your chance to become more whole and find greater purpose. It doesn't mean that the relationship doesn't have a place. It's saying you're going to do some personal development this month as well. All right, let's break it down. 3 categories. Those in a relationship, looking for love, happily single. We're going to go back to this, especially in a relationship. You guys know I always am looking for swords in addition to cups. And so we have, front and center, Mercury coming through saying if there's something that needs to be said, say it clearly. And, bubbling over from wealth, we have Joan of Arc as well. So a couple of cards of very clear communication. Say it if you need to say it. Be clear, be constructive, be concise. Try not to be negative if possible. All right. We're going to look at it first for those of you that are in a very solid relationship, then maybe those of you that are dealing with challenges. Assuming everything is good in the relationship, the biggest stress could be travel. There could be one of you, this could be long distance as well. So trying to negotiate how much time to spend and who's going to visit with whom and how much time you're going to spend at each other's places, of course, that could create some stress. I see that one of you is just very kind of like quiet and what's the best word? I mean, of course you can say the hermit, but it's really just shy. That's the energy. And so you can be in the same room, but the person isn't necessarily going to speak, but they'll show you. So we have one person waiting to hear from the other, and the other one's like, well, I'm showing you this. So this is a month of compromising existing relationships, give and take. You can say, I understand that you're quiet, but it helps me when you say this and this, and give them the map. It's easier than expecting people to figure it all out. And then listen to them too if they need help on something or they say they really like something. Meeting in the middle, key to success. One partner may be dealing with some challenges emotionally, or maybe this is bubbling over from family life or work life. And so rather than trying to fix it or getting angry, just saying, I'm so sorry you're going through that. What can I help you with? One of you may just have a hard time being wrong. And it is about working on accountability, taking criticism, with a grain of salt, not getting upset. So there's a little bit of communication opportunities here. But overall, I feel like you guys make a good pair. This is a month to meet in the middle and maybe take a trip. Maybe also walk away from some of the day-to-day challenges. So by the way, there are not enough cups here. No cups. So if I have time at the end, I'll look at that. If it doesn't come through in Sun, Rising, and Moon, we'll try to figure out why the cups aren't there. But having some fun, I think, is missing here. There's a lot of energy on work, on control, on resources, but I'm not seeing a lot of fun. I'm happy that you're communicating, but let's take it out of being so serious. That's the one thing. For those that are in a challenging situation, Emotions are making it even more challenging, and then one partner not taking accountability or listening also. And by the way, someone may just have a tendency to walk away. They shut down. The hermit and the fool, not great communicators sometimes. This one's walking away, this one's not saying anything. It might be the same person, it might be both of you stepping into that from time to time, so be mindful of that. If you're looking for love this month, can you find it? Yeah. We have an older King of Wands coming through, or a very wise and experienced King of Wands coming through. What I like about this energy for you, fiery, passionate, and demonstrative. So it doesn't feel like you may not always hear them saying, I love you, or I want this. They're going to show you. They're going to show up. So it's a nice energy. But if you're looking for an overly communicative energy, it's not necessarily this person. I think that one thing that you need to work on this month is self-deprecating. So when you're communicating, don't call attention to flaws. Don't shy away from someone saying something positive. Just say, thanks. Okay, that's nice to hear. I appreciate that. And then remember from time to time, from your own heart and authenticity, to dole out a compliment from time to time too. Receive them and give them, and focus on your mental health and emotional health. And don't worry so much about naysayers. This, I really think, has to do with friends or family members that are making you feel less than, maybe because of your relationship status or lack thereof. You know, that's their own thing. Get out there. This is where you're going to meet them. Forget about the apps. Six of Swords is travel. The Fool is just going to the grocery store, going to, a doctor's appointment, walking out, with your dog in the neighborhood. It's everyday tasks, and you can meet people that way. And make some time in your schedule. That's all. It does feel like you can manage it this month. Healing is most important. Emotional healing, tuning out the naysayers, not being self-deprecating, and then just getting out there. Okay? If you're single and happy, first of all, good for you. Really focus on your own health and well-being. I think that now is a great time to meet some new people, but it's coming through in work and activities. So you're still going to meet people. I felt like there was really nice energy with this. This is where the vision is really coming in. And I did see like walking and hiking. So maybe while you're going to the gym or doing exercise, you could also meet a new connection, a new friend. All right, let's move on to Destiny. What a cool card to come through here. We have alchemy and a lot of text, so let's pull it close to the camera. The frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and the remembrance of the magic that we hold inside. So let's bubble that down into something that we can understand. You are always connected to Source. The magician, as above, so below, basically represents us plugging back into Source energy. So that's the first thing that I'm getting from this. Let's continue reading this verbose passage. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge, amen, that allowed true alchemists to perform the miracles of transmutation. Okay, you're the magician, you're the high priestess, embrace it. That's what that says. You've always had a connection to Source. People around you sometimes may scoff at you and wonder what that means, but listen, the hermit is very, very divinely connected. Believe in and lean into what? Your connection to Source, the star. Become the star this month if you're ready. And talk about it. Talk about your experiences. Normalize spiritual communication. That's one of the things I'm trying to do here on this channel, is to get people to talk more about their experiences. All right, let's go ahead now, and we're going to take a deeper dive into sun, rising, and moon sign messages. All right, sun, rising, and moon. As we take a look at the sun sign, we have the 10 of Wands in reverse. If we take a moment to look at this in the upright position, you can see how burdened that person is. They're feeling like there's a lot to carry. And we talked about here with the Mercury card, the importance of getting the weight off your chest or your shoulders by opening communication. So that can be applied to this. You also don't have to do this all on your own. 10 of Wands reminds you you're close to the finish line, but it's okay to delegate. It's okay to ask for help right now. Whatever you need to do in order to feel like it's not all on you. That's message number one. Now, this is also about letting go of things in your life that weigh you down, people in your life that pressure you, because the other message that we got here was it's time to start something new. And you may just be at the finish line. And this could be holding on and being a perfectionist long after you need to. It's already perfect or good enough. So letting go of perfectionist tendencies and saying, okay, let's go. Let's step into something new. Okay? Take care of your back, by the way. Sometimes this can represent lower back pain, slip disc, or if you're going to be moving something big, get some help. Don't do it all on your own. Let's go ahead and transition into rising sign messages. We have a reversed Two of Pentacles. It's your second balance card that came through. This one is more pointed and asks you to be more decisive. What we see here is someone that has got these two options separated by a rubber band, and at a certain point the band breaks. We don't want you to get to the breaking point because it can also be an emotional breaking point. Patience can be your body so that you get, sick or something. None of these things we want right now. It's really important for you to pump the brakes and say, this isn't working. I need to do this instead. I'm going to stop this and start that. So making a decision, letting go of trying to, again, please everyone. So perfectionist tendencies and overcompensating, over-delivering. Less is more, okay? This is especially true because in rising and ascendant, this can have to deal with how you're projecting or working with others. So particularly in careers, you're going to have to say no to some things and take care of yourself. Moving on to moon sign. Speaking of that, these are all nicely connected. Empress reversed. So instead of being the eternal mother and nurturing, supporting, directing everyone, you're going to turn the lens inward and say, I need to do this for myself. I want to do this for myself. You may also be dealing with an external person in your life that is hovering in, like a helicopter mom or a boss that micromanages, and you're going to create better boundaries. Because again, this is a time for you to speak up and be the voice of reason. Ultimately, you have the power, skill, and ability to bring it to the next level, and anyone that says otherwise really is projecting their own fear. All right, before we go into the final card, let's take a look at a reader's choice. My choice today is to look at why there are no cups. I don't always do a reader's choice, but I noticed a lack of something here in the spread. Let's figure out why it's not here. So what do you need to focus on to have some fun, to get into your emotional side? And then we'll look at the final card. Don't force the connection. Seven of Wands can represent coming through and trying to make it work when it doesn't. So if you're not feeling it in work, in a relationship, or in anything, it's time to step back and step into a new direction here with the Fool. So one of the reasons that we're not seeing fun is simply because it isn't, and you're trying to make it. So whatever it is that you choose next, it should be an easy connection for you. Don't push it, don't force the connection, and give yourself permission to do things that have this sense of ease and fun and frivolity. This can also represent deciding to take your fitness a little bit more seriously, and you might meet great people in that endeavor, but mostly I'm getting don't force the connection. Oh, by the way, now we're going to take a look at the final question. This can be anything that you still need some advice or clarity on. Let's go ahead, give the cards a shuffle, and see what's coming through. So the Eight of Cups came through in the reverse state, but in its upright position, it represents the ability to get some distance from something. So if you asked a yes or no question, that actually answers it. Not yet, because you need to take a couple steps back and get some clarity, get the big picture. In the reverse state, it could also indicate that you're not ready to move on because you need to go back and sort out some unfinished business. When we were looking at the main spread here, this could be finishing a degree. There could be a contract or an agreement that you decided that you need to go back, and you said you were going to do it. You're going to basically see that promise through. That way you can feel, like you are 100% able to focus on whatever's coming through next. If you're not asking a yes or no and you're just open to advice, it's time to take a break, and it's time to kind of do some exploration. You actually got three cards that are showing exploring energy. So the center card is saying you're overdue to take a break. You're coming through with this desire to experience some wanderlust or just to travel, and this is saying, let's do it. So get some perspective, try some new things, step outside of your comfort zone. I also saw hiking and walking in my dreams. So the act of connecting with nature and being out there could be very healing for you, but you also might meet somebody. It also might just give you an idea. I think it could be a really great activity for those of you that are in a good climate that supports it, that are active and able to do it. Walking and hiking could be great at this moment in time. But it's not yet. If you asked a yes or no, you need some clarity, you need some distance from the opportunity to really make your decision. Okay? I hope that helped. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing. And more importantly, when this is available as a post, go ahead and comment below. Let me know what resonated, what you really enjoyed. I read every comment and it helps me make videos that you enjoy. Also, give me a follow on social media. That way you'll never miss out on something that I post here. I know that sometimes notifications don't always go through. So if you follow me on social media at Nicholas Ashbaugh, you'll never miss a future video. Remember, it is just my name, no extra characters. By the way, if somebody does reach out and try to ask for something or pretend to be me, you know that's fake. I don't use direct messages. If you ever want to connect, just show up in a live stream. And if you want to show support, it's always optional. You can do it through super stickers, super chat, memberships right here on my official YouTube channel. That way, you know it's going to the right place. You can always go to my website if you need official links as well. That, my friends, is everything. So I just want to end with some gratitude. Thank you so much for showing up, for being present, for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. Let me grab Apollo and we'll sign off together. Wishing all of you a wonderful month ahead from my little furry companion. I know. I'm going to take this guy for a walk. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one, and I'll see you soon.